And welcome to this week's episode of Cowboys Takeover. I'm your host, Jason Kent. We got a big week this week after a pretty bad beatdown at the hands of Buffalo, who really just felt like dominated us in every facet when you look back at it. I know Aaron and myself did discuss some of Dallas's faults in that game, but at the end of the day, they were beat pretty bad. So this week we have a very tough opponent, and we go down there, another road game, and it's right in the middle. This is the stretch we were talking about where we've been discussing and really looking at that I think will shape this Dallas season and how we feel going into the playoffs. Is it a big game? I do. I think it's a big game after last week. You want to see how Dak responds. You want to see how this defense, especially the run game, responds. You want to see them step up this week and just not get embarrassed in every facet of the game. So to discuss this week and really break down the Dolphins or the team we're playing and the Dolphins like we do, let's bring in Mr. Aaron James. Aaron, how you feeling today, sir? How confident are we at this point on Thursday?
Getting more confident by the day. And after doing some of this pregame work and looking at the Dolphins season so far, I think there's more reason to be confident. So let's dive into it, man.
You know what I love there, though? If there's one thing that I will say you never lack, it's confidence in a Dallas dub. I feel like looking back, I think when we did our preseason predictions, I really believe you had him at 17-0. And you're just like, you know what? I'm not going to be that guy. I'll throw a loss in there somewhere. I feel like you got him winning every game. So hey, somebody's got to be positive because I feel like I'm too negative. But you're right. Let's dive into this Dolphins season. And it's one that's had its, I don't want to say not really ups and downs, but kind of, they started out the season on a 3-game win streak and really, 2 close ones. And then a domination, a game against Denver that people thought, put Denver in the grave early in the season, but like we said, they did have 2 close ones against Los Angeles, the Chargers and New England. New England's a team they probably should have dominated, but didn't. But then, they blow out that Denver team 70-20. It just felt like they were throwing the ball. And I remember they were the talk of the town, right? And then they go to Buffalo. And Buffalo just stomps them out 48-20. And Tua just wasn't Tua. Hill wasn't Hill. They kind of, shut them down, kind of like they did Dallas last week, not giving up the big play and not giving up a lot of yardage to Miami. So, early in the season, what were you thinking about this Miami team with all the talent that they have just littered all over the field?
When the Dolphins put up the 70 burger, I was like, whoa, that was a statement beyond statements. And I was starting to think, man, this team is going to be dangerous. And then to your point, they go to Buffalo. Buffalo was desperate for a win at that time. Buffalo comes out on top 48-20. So then you kind of, pump the brakes a little bit. And the narrative behind the Dolphins has been very similar to that of the Cowboys, which is they're great at home, but their offense doesn't seem to travel very well. Mm-hmm. So I think, we're coming off a road loss, and Miami just lost their first home game of the season, uncharacteristically to a Titans team with Will Levis leading the way. So, and also not to mention, they were in a position going into last week of having first seed in the AFC.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, they're right there with right there with Baltimore. In that game against Tennessee, like you said, that was a game I felt like Tennessee tried to give away. They tried to hand it to Miami, and Miami just couldn't capitalize. But like you said, so they're 10-4 on the season. They lost to a Philadelphia team, week 7 when Philadelphia was really rolling at that point. And then they lose in a one-score game to Kansas City right after beating New England, and they go on a little win streak against Vegas, New York Jets, Washington, and then to your point, they lose to Tennessee that loss at home, and that one was a tough one because Tennessee's really a going down team, and Miami has something to play for. So it was very shocking. But then last week they came in, handled business, just zeroed the Jets. Waddle 142 yards with Hill out. Tua just felt like everything was to Waddle. So they're coming in this game this week so far. I saw Hill is practicing. He did do a little bit of participation. I believe I don't know if I'm gonna say his name right. Achane. He was a limited participant today, and I think Mostert was missing today, if I read that correctly on the injury report. Yeah. So you don't know what team you're going to get, because this is a team, I think, when you start to look at that Dallas defense, where do they focus? Who do the Dallas focus on defense? Who are they looking at? Because there's just weapons all over the field. A fully healthy Miami team. I was looking through the stats today. Tua is first in passing yards, pretty much first in completion percentage. He's fifth in touchdowns. He's only been sacked 25 times. And then you go to the receivers he gets to throw to. You got to focus on two. It's either going to be Waddle or Hill. Hill is first in the league in yardage, fourth in catches. He's averaging 15.9 yards a catch. There are other guys that have higher than him, but when you look at the catches, most of them, I think the next closest was like a 66 catch. Really, like, these are guys that aren't catching as many balls and just going deep. And Waddle still has 71 catches for 976 yards, averaging 13.6 yards a catch too. So it's going to be dangerous, and it's going to be tough if you have to face both of these guys. I know last week I was a little, you saw Hill sit. He's not hurt bad. So you're like, okay, maybe he sits against Dallas and you only have to face Waddle.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, but that's a scary combination. And we haven't even touched on the run game. Like, that run game is just fantastic. Where do you focus?
This team their offense is built on speed, sideline to sideline. I know Devon Achane is on my fantasy team, and man, when he plays, I mean, his average yards per carry, I think, is over 8.5.
It's 8.5. He has
8.5,
like 72
okay, yeah.
carries and 613 yards. When you saw him early in the season, I was sitting there watching. I think the one game he had like 10 carries for 150 yards. It's like, this dude, and all of this isn't like a 7-game span when he was able to stay healthy and on the field. His speed is game changing. The speed of that team is game changing. You don't see it that often.
Yeah. So, and that's not even a knock on Mostert either. He's a guy with speed as well. So it's gonna test our linebacking core. The nerve-wracking thing to me is, McDaniels faced our defense. I believe it was the 21 playoffs when he was on the offensive coordinator for the 49ers. So he has some familiarity there with our defense, but we could say the same for DQ. Tua, I did not pick up Tua in a fantasy draft because I didn't think he could last a whole season healthy. But he's kept his legs under him. Like you mentioned, he's not sacked all that much this season. And when I see this team play, when the DBs play too soft, it's really a pitch and catch. And when they play aggressive, Tua is one of the best, most accurate deep ball throwers in the league. Reminds me a lot of Steve Young and how that deep ball comes off his left hand. So with DQ, he has his work cut out for him. I think what makes me confident is we have tape to go back and look at how the Bills were successful in slowing them down. There were some games. I mean, they only scored, 17 against the Eagles.
Yeah.
And, they were trying to make a statement in that game. So I do think there's enough tape out there. And they only scored 14 against the Chiefs.
Yeah.
There's enough tape out there to go and see how teams slow them down. And with Tyreek Hill, a good sized question mark on his health and, how much that that ankle is really hurting. I think it does say something. The fact that he would sit out a game because he's a guy that wants to play
Oh
in
yeah.
every game, even if it's limited snaps. So I would suspect we're going to go into that game where he's probably going to be more of a decoy than an actual threat. The good thing is, even though Tua is mobile, he's not looking to beat anybody with his legs.
No.
So it allows our front four just to go out and eat and kind of sit back and see what what they have throwing at us. But I'm not as nervous as I was before. I'd be curious to see how often we're going to go man to man coverage because these guys, they run the mesh concepts, cross flat crossers, and
that's all you got to do. They're a Madden team. But if I'm Dallas, I think after last week, I really think they need to focus, and I think it's going to play big focus on shutting down the run this week. I think that's the key.
Oh, huge.
To me, because when you can shut down the run and make that team one-dimensional, you can get to two. I know he's only been sacked 25 times, but we got, DeMarcus Ware. Why am I saying these guys? Micah Parsons. I always think DeMarcus. Micah Parsons is next level. And Lawrence is very good in his own right. But Micah, there's not many rushers out there as good as him. So, if they can shut down the run, Micah gets to pin his ears back. So I think that's the big thing. You can't let these guys get going. And I know it sounds kind of counterintuitive because Dallas's defense is built on sideline to sideline too. They're not much of a power game. But those dudes are one cut home run guys. You may only face one. And the good thing is if Mostert doesn't play, you want to see you don't want to see him get hurt, because I'd love to see that a chain kid, get his legs under him and actually show what he can do. But he's been hurt a lot this season. So
yeah,
Ralph Wilson Jr. is a guy I know that's always been hurt. He's a guy you just don't know what you have. So that's where I'm not as worried, but I am a little bit, just because they hit those gaps. But with Mostert probably not playing, you don't know how many carries they can give you. So I think if you just shut down the run game, don't give up that big explosive run that Miami is known for, it'll make it a little bit easier on the back end of your defense, because Parsons and Lawrence are just going to be able to tee off. I think if I'm DQ, that's what I'm focusing on most. And the other, do you think they double Hill, or do you think they're going to trust Gilmore or Bland? I'm a little nervous if Bland's going to be on him. I'm not going to lie.
I do think that there will be instances where our DBs won't have help, but I do think most of the game they'll have someone over the top of Hill.
I think you have to. You just need to. And it stinks because, like you said, they run a lot of those crossing patterns. So you get him just going across the middle. Tua is a guy, he puts the ball there. He gives them guys opportunities to run after the catch. And the kind of speed they have is just game changing. You don't see it very often. Like, I know a lot of teams, pick them in Madden because of that. When you get those two dudes on the outside, and those guys, and just run game. So they're almost a complete offense. They're about as complete offense as I think you could see. Would you agree?
Yeah. I mean, they can run. They could pass. They got dynamic players on both sides of the field and the backfield. And they got one of the best play callers, in my opinion. Some of their play designs are top notch.
Yeah, he is and his swag, a highlight waiting to happen. Just him. Okay.
And it's so weird how it's different from Sirianni. Like Sirianni, you just want to, punch him. But with McDaniels,
bro,
he's just, like,
I can watch clips of him all day. like seriously, like I remember my buddy was talking. My buddy's a San Fran fan, a few of them, and they were telling me. So I kind of knew who he was. And then you see him coming to Miami, and just the swag the dude has, it's next level. Like too. And
It
I compare it
is.
to coaches. I'd love to see, if he got a job with Belichick, or what would go on. Like, I'm sure he tried to calm down, but I don't know if Belichick's putting up with that type of dude. It's just, you're right. He's
Right.
next level coach, but he's also an offensive genius. Like, he's one of the great offensive play callers and designers in the league today, like game changing. So, you got to give it to the dude. I think they do have a good advantage there. I think that offense is built to run. But the good thing of it, when you look at Dallas, like, what is Dallas on offense? How should they attack that? Um, how do you think they're going to attack that defense? Because when you look at it, I think the quarterbacks are very comparable right now this season. Tua is, first in passing yards. Dak is second, or Dak's fifth. Dak's right there in with completion percentage. Both of them are very similar: 71 for Tua, 68 for Dak. 25 touchdowns for Tua, which is fifth. 28 for Dak. So these are teams that really want to throw the ball. The one stat that shocked me, and I feel like me and you have really been down on Pollard this year. But when you look at him so far, he's eighth in rushing yards, which I was really shocked when you just look at when I've watched him this season. He's averaging, he's got 207 attempts, which is seventh in the league. Only 5 touchdowns, but also I think it's misleading with the amount we use Pollard too, because you also throw in he's got 51 catches. So Pollard's a dude. He's used a lot more than I thought he was. And I guess it's just what today's game is. They're not a real run heavy game anymore.
Right. Yeah. So the Dolphins got Jalen Ramsey back a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
After having him out, and he's a very physical cornerback. I think he matches up well with both like a Cooks and a CD. I haven't really seen him follow in many instances where he follows wideouts. So curious to see if they're going to have him follow CD in that slot position.
I don't think so.
If he doesn't, I think that is our gameplay, our game plan, to get CD open mostly from the slot in this game. And the big question mark also is with Zach Martin. He's been limited, if I recall correctly, during practice, and he did not come back into the game last week. And I'm kind of even on the fence myself if I want, Zach playing.
Yeah.
And I'd rather have him at 100% next week than 80% for 2 games or something along those lines. But I think that can impact our play calling a little bit as well.
Oh, definitely. Because, Miami is a team, they have 48 sacks. I think that's top 5. When I was going through it, Dallas has 40. They have 48 sacks. So they're, it's a team that gets to the quarterback. And when I was looking at it earlier, it's not just like Dallas where, they have Micah and then a couple of guys with, doing okay. This Miami team has a lot of dudes that get to the quarterback. When you look at it, so you have Bradley Chubb has 9.5. Christian Watkins, who's a defensive tackle, has 8, which you almost never see. Zach Sealer, defensive tackle, 7.5. Jalen Phillips, 6'5". Emmanuel Aguba, he's got 5. So 4.5. So they're a team that gets to the quarterback. So if you're missing Martin this week, he didn't practice yesterday. I didn't see anything on him today. That's a big blow. And when you look at it, Miami is 4th against the run. And it makes sense. They're a team that scores a lot of points. They throw the ball a lot. They're going to put up big games. Teams are going to start throwing a lot against them. So that's probably why I think the discrepancy, they give up more. But Dallas, that's the only issue. When you look at the defenses, Miami's is a little more overall better. Dallas, has that passing or that rushing weakness. Miami doesn't have a lot of weaknesses, and adding Jalen Ramsey, I think, was huge because it does give them that shutdown corner. But I think Dak has to show efficiency this week. I think we all know it's going to be on Dak, which it needs to be. I would like to see some Pollard run sprinkled in there. But Dak has to be efficient with the ball this week. He can't average 3.9 yards a completion or an attempt. That just can't happen. And he's got to hit the plays when they're there. Like we said last week, that for either first or second drive, where I think it was first, when he missed Cooks wide open on the deep ball against these better teams, can't do it. So he has to just be efficient this week. I think it always starts with Dak. And I agree. I want to see CD in the slot a little bit more this week. Let's keep him away from the outside. I don't care. He's a weapon. Let's get him out there. Let's put Cook. And I think Ferguson, is going to be a big deal too. I think Ferguson's going to have, about 10 catches this week. I think he's going to utilize Ferguson a lot.
I'm looking at our, at our scoring offense throughout every game, every week. And it's rare, that we have, I think only one game in single digits, if there is one. But my point being, it's very rare where we have back-to-back poor performing weeks.
I don't think we have. Yeah, we definitely haven't this season, and we've had no single digit performances.
Yeah, and I think everything is focus going into this week with what the players have been talking about with the media, and I'm sure in the locker room, like, why aren't we playing better at home? So everything is amplified from a personal accountability standpoint. So I think this game is going to really tell us a lot about the character of the players, the work ethic that's taking place behind the scenes, the attention to detail. I think it starts with the coaches and the penalties. This is an offense in Miami that you can't allow them to continue to have drives go on. And I do think, to where you were going with Dak, that he does have a rebound game. Would you say over under 250 passing yards?
I think over.
Okay. I think
he might. I think closer to 300, if not breaking it. Because that's the thing. I'm really debating here, because I think everybody believes it's going to be a high scoring affair.
Yeah.
Watch it be 6-3, and we're all upset. It'd be terrible, but I don't think it'll happen. But I think both of these quarterbacks throw for a lot of yardage.
So you see like another Seattle type of game.
Yeah. And I think it's tough too. Because Miami, what Waddle, that team, we've seen them just be down before, and just they can score points in bunches with that. If Hill's playing, I don't even care about the running backs. If Hill's playing, that's a team that can score very quickly. They have that one play score capability all over the field. That's what worries me. And I know Dallas is a good team. They don't have that type of offense. CD's a guy that's just going to catch the ball, hit your hole, get about 8 yards, go down, get tackled. Pollard isn't the home run hitter this year that he has been in the past. Gallup used to be, maybe not home run, but big play guy. And we know what we have with Cooks, and that can't hit him deep. So that's what worries me. That's my biggest fear, is that they just hit them. In close games, that's all it takes. And it's tough because it's funny because and they didn't need to. So you wonder, that's what Dallas's DBs didn't have to work last week. You go from not really doing anything to Waddle and Hill. It's a tough adjustment. I don't think anything can prepare you for Hill. You just don't. You can't. You don't see that type of speed really. So I think it's a tough matchup, but I think after last week, like you said, this has to be a team. You want to see the character of this team right now. You want to have confidence going. If they do something like last week, to me, that's tough. You want to see a great performance. This is one of those games. I'm okay if they lose a very close game. If it's a good game, you lose it, You're okay. I feel better. Like I understand we're not going to win every game. You don't want to see consecutive losses this late, but against a very good Buffalo team and Miami, you know, if it's a good game, I can take it because I just don't see us. We can't win the division. Eagles have to lose again. More than likely, they play the Giants twice and another bum team. So they're not. I don't think so.
Right.
But you have to see a rebound. Dak has to rebound this week.
Yeah. You want to see. I'm okay with a loss and a close game, competitive game, but also I really want to see more so production from the offense against a good team like the Dolphins. And again, the Dolphins again, same scrutiny as the Cowboys. They don't really do good against teams that are over 500.
That's all I saw this week was just those jokes. I think one win combined or something like that. It was making me chuckle at certain points.
Yeah, so we'll have to see how it shakes out. They're playing for a lot themselves. Um, I think if Dak throws over 250, I think that means we win. But the big question mark is, what's the special number when it comes to rushing yards allowed by our defense?
I really think if Miami, I think 100 because I think if Miami gets 100, they're going well over 100 with those backs. You got to keep them. I'd like to see them keep the lead rusher around 60 because to me 60 you're not getting that breakaway. If they start showing that one cut gone, it's going to be a long day for Dallas because they don't have an answer for that. And the run game. Yeah. We saw James Cook just dominated. If I'm Miami, I'm just whoever's in my running back is being James Cook this week and just going off. Whoever they put back there. That's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm scared. If it's 100, I think it's well over 100 and Miami's winning.
Yeah, if we end up getting steamrolled, we're going to have to talk about adjustments that need to be made because I started to see some comments out there already on X this week regarding Micah Parsons being moved to linebacker because that's the biggest gap on that defense. Whereas Micah can potentially fill that. I think it is a lot to ask him to be as productive.
I'm not even worried about asking him to be as productive. Or I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about what you lose in the rush in your defensive rush now. Because you're getting rid of Micah has to be on the line every play rushing. At this point, I've come to I know we did talk about it early in the season, and then when Van Der Esch got hurt, you think maybe I just can't do it. That's a whoever front office issue. They understood the issues that Leighton had. When the rookie got hurt in training camp, you lost somebody there. You knew. So to me, I can't weaken my pass rush to fill a linebacking need. My pass rush is too important because you weaken the pass rush, you give the quarterback more time. Now your DBs are defending longer. Now it hurts overall. If they're going to give up the run, there's nothing you could do about. You're going to have to suck it up and figure out what you need to do. Go find a linebacker on the streets. Go talk to Pat McAfee and sign AJ Hawk for a little bit. Do something. You can't. I just can't move Micah out of rushing the quarterback anymore.
And I can't even go as far to say, I think it's a stretch if we were to say, it's Jonathan Hankins being out and Mozzie Smith trying to fill that gap. I don't think Mozzie played all that bad last week because they were gashing us from all aspects of that D-line.
But when you lose a player like Hankins, it has a ripple effect. I think the ripple effect with losing him did play a lot. I think the weather had a little bit. They knew once they started going. That's what you've seen when teams start getting that run game working. Dallas doesn't have a fix for it. When Dallas is shutting teams down early, that's when they get that lead. So far, I feel like the games we've lost, really outside of San Fran, The Eagles did rush okay against us. Arizona rushed really well. Buffalo rushed well last week. The only game we have lost and really shut the running back down was McCaffrey, which was a shocker because we shut him out. But yeah, I think the Hankins loss, once he's back, I didn't see how long he was going to be out, but I think once he's back, that solves it. But you gotta figure something out. I just don't, at this point in the season, there's really nothing you can do about it. You just have to hope your guys play good a couple games in a row.
Yeah. And our defense, I think, they had a forced turnover that wasn't challenged last week. I think if we get something like that, this game that does go our way, it's gonna continue to be meaningful to put our offense in good position. But let's get to predictions and how you kind of see this playing out.
I don't know. This might, to me, I really believe. I truly believe this comes down to the last possession. I do think it's a high scoring game. So I feel like it's the coward's way out, but I truly believe this is going to be one of those very close games. Whatever quarterback has the ball last is winning this game. That is my prediction.
I see a chess match mostly between Dan Quinn and McDaniels. And depending on how, that chess match goes, I think is going to decide kind of who wins the game. I think if we can keep the Dolphins, and this would be a rarity. I mean, I would say 20 points. That means we should come out on top.
I think I would agree. I want to see. I think we should. Dallas's offenses should be good enough to get more than that. What do you think the key factor is that 20 points? You want to hold them below 20 points. I think they need to sack Tua. I need to see four or five sacks. To me, if you're getting 4 or 5 sacks, you're really getting to Tua. You're putting pressure on him. You're not liking it, and that, I think, to me, it has to be that type of game because Tua is a guy that isn't sacked a lot. So I need that's what I need. I need Micah this has to be Micah's game. Micah needs to get 2.5 sacks this week.
I think that's going to be tough because they're one of the highest wide receiver screen plays and quick throws.
Go get them. Go get them. Pin your ears
offenses.
Back. You hope Hankins is there. You shut that. You let. I want to see Lawrence and Parsons just meeting at the quarterback every play. And then one time they could do a double loop and meet in the middle and then go get them. You know what I'm saying? That's what I want to see. I think you have to. That's the best way to beat it. Your pass rush is the best way to neutralize any team. Dallas has it. They have to go do it. The problem is if you're missing Martin, you got a team on the other side that has a very good pass rush as well. You can't just focus on Bradley Chubb. You can't focus on Jaden. You can't focus on one guy. They got a lot of dudes that can go. So that's what I think. That's where I think the biggest issue, if they're sacking, I think whoever has more sacks this week wins the game. That's going to be the key. And watch.
I think you're right.
Neither team's going to get a sack. It's going to be 0-0. And it's going to end in a tie. Called it here. You heard it here first. No sacks and a tie. But we want to thank each and every one of you, for listening, for watching us. You can check us out on all of our social medias. The Cowboys Takeover Podcast, Facebook, Twitter, and I know Mr. Aaron keeps saying X, so I guess I'll go with X. Facebook, X, Instagram, and on YouTube as well. Cowboys Takeover Podcast. If you like to follow, you can catch our streams on, twice a week. Pregame, postgame on Facebook and Twitter. So just go give us a like, give us a follow, watch, come in and join the chat. Leave us comment on one of the pages. We just appreciate each and every one of you, and we're very thankful. Mr. Aaron, you got anything to add to that?
We're also on TikTok, so you can connect with us there. We'll be posting kind of more. I intend to post kind of some more behind the scenes comments or, just kind of pregame or postgame comments on there. And I would say, look for our postgame this coming Monday, since it's a 4 p.m. type East Coast.
Bro, do you know what Monday is?
Oh, should we?
You want to push it? It is later in the we could do it later in the afternoon. Yeah. We could drop a Christmas Day Are we dropping a Christmas Day podcast?
Check out our Facebook page to keep up with
we'll
what
let
we
you
go
know.
with there.
That's what I
Maybe
assume.
a Tuesday though. Yeah.
But again, thank everyone. Check out. I can't wait. I'm gonna do some TikTok dance. I'll be doing one of those dances. I'll get up on there.
Right.
But we thank each and every one of you guys. Have a great Christmas. Hopefully, everybody enjoys it. Enjoy. Can't wait. Let's go. Let's beat Miami. Let's get this win. Let's get back on the winning streak. Let's get this offense rolling again. Thank each and every one of you. Oh, and catch us out on Spotify and on the other your podcast listening needs. Enjoy. God bless.